I want to
Hey,
know,
hi.
are we going to have some kind of a wordsmith uh, paper for, or an email or something outlining what you are talking about today? Not just having another webinar thing or something that isn't in writing. Are we going to have something to
Yeah,
put?
it's too fast, right? It's just too much information to hear.
You talk
They
so
want.
fast, but you know what? I caught every single word of it this time.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of garbage listening to that all the time. We could have been a little more interactive, but at least we got the points out. And yeah, I think we'll write down what we're doing, because really what it comes down to, right, is a training on how do I take this and use it. And it's like, okay, you could tell me all day long, but kind of help me, show me how do I get this list out of Core Realty, and then how do I put it into Chime, and then how do I set up a campaign, and what do I do, right?
Right. And I think what would really be great would
Yeah,
be if, after we have an adequate amount of training time, maybe a day or two, that we maybe do a mock buyer and seller or something, and everybody try to go in and do it. And then report back and let you know how it worked so that you have some confirmation of affirmation.
well, yeah. So I don't know what you mean by a mock one, but I mean we'll do a real one. Like we would. Are you talking about role playing? I mean, what I want to do is I want to get everybody together and go step by step and pull the data out, put it in your computer,
Mm-hmm.
set up the campaign, and then the rest is kind of up to you to follow up. So I guess I'd say if anybody was to want to actually get some valid names and numbers, they should identify where they want to market and then let me know.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, if we could do this in person, everybody brought a laptop, we can just slow down and go step by step and till everybody's caught up. Um, this is all great. I paid for it, but if we don't use it, it's a waste, right?
Exactly. And that's why I think we need practice with it. And like you said, we're used to being in person and taking it step by step with our laptops. That is out the window right now. So we've got to step up our game and try to do it online and maybe have a deadline, like tell everybody, well, we want you to go in and get your account set up, get initiated, do chapter 1. We'll talk about it next week. And then proceed
Yeah.
after that so that we take it step by step and try to, and I don't know how we motivate agents to go in and do it.
Well, if
Randy,
anybody wants to do it, they could just get on the call like right now. Who? So I think I'm going to say if anybody is interested and wants to do this, then their first step is to target a neighborhood or a apartment building or something like that they want to market to. And then we can get the list out, and I can kind of advise on how I would narrow it down, and we can weed out like maybe the list, of who we don't want in there, and then we move to step 2. So first step is anybody that's interested is to nail down a neighborhood, not too big, right? A couple apartment buildings if they want to find some move up people, and then we'll go from there. Who's trying to talk a second ago?
this is Liz, Randy. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, what I was thinking is, I was just before Lynn was talking, I thought something similar, but I wondered if we could create ourselves some little groups. Like maybe we could say, okay, uh, let's make groups of 4 people, and we'll do a Zoom kind of thing like this, and do our own demos, make our own things as a little group, and that way we'd have a little bit of a team, and each of us would learn from the other. Because
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll start right now by who raises their hand and wants to do this, and that might just be a group of 4
right,
or
that's what
5.
I'm thinking.
We
Just
don't
get
want
it
too many.
right, to get it started with 4 or 5 people makes perfect sense. And then I don't know
Yeah.
if any of you used Remind, which we do get through MLS, and Remind does have the similar kind of scoring. They're not good on the emails, or the phone numbers, not as good, but they do have some good things that have to do with how long the person has lived there, and some of these other things that help to focus the target. So if we used kind of like a format where we give the initial target, then did the zeroing in, picked out our, let's say, 50 people that we wanted to focus on for a certain term, and then also ran them through Remind, we would end up with just a dynamite program of really strong targets.
Yes. So if anybody's very good at Remind, I would appreciate if they would do a demo, or we could ask the association to do it. And I know that there's different levels of the data that it offers, that some is free and some cost money, right?
Right. And I
I,
did pay for the pay for it form, and I found that actually the free form just worked as well. And I did do quite a bit of it. When I published that first book that I did, I used Remind to help target on that, and it really was pretty good. So,
maybe you
uh,
can show me on Zoom here after the meeting, if you have
you know,
time, a quick
Randy,
overview.
you know what? I would do it anytime, but I'm not going to be able to do it today because I don't know if you know, I fell down and broke my hip, and I am
Ouch.
re I am recovering, and I'm doing really, really well, but my time windows are kind of small, which is why I am
That's
not on
okay.
video.
Okay, so I know I can go into the help menu in North Star MLS and watch the overview anyways. I just want to see how similar it is to Kohl's.
Right. And
Because
I
what
think
I really
that's
look
what
for,
I thought too. But I'm more familiar with colds in some ways than other things. I bet Lynn is too, because when we started in real estate, it was an essential. So I think that, um, from my point of view, I think I have found that colds in general, their information is really reliable. And if they can do a better job on email, I'm sure they've got an advantage to Remind right there. And then the other thing
yeah,
is, if we could use the two of them since the Remind is free to us. We could use that as kind of a backup check for us. So, we could develop a process individually, like say, okay, here's my target, next sort, next sort, next sort, so that we get it right down to a very, very pinpointed kind of targeting. I think we would do really well if we could do that.
yep. Hey, I saw another promo. Damon's on the phone. I don't know if he's still listening or not, but everybody else could hear this that's listening. Damon makes a lot of handles a lot of leads, and so must be making a lot of calls. And I don't, it's not for everybody, but I saw that there's an auto dialer feature in Chime that's on sale for $14 to $15 a month. And I'm getting one line set up for Patrick, because he makes our outbound calls for the company. But I mean, if anybody, wanted to try to make 30, 40 calls, that's the way to do it, especially after you get the information into Chime. But you don't have to do it. It's pretty cheap, though. That's pretty much, dials
Okay.
for you.
I'm going to have to jump off, Randy, but I'd love to pick this up because my PT guy is here. So,
Okay, you have a good afternoon, and then
okay,
we'll keep in touch.
yeah, keep in touch. And anybody that wants to just call me and talk about any of this stuff, I'm certainly open to it.
Well,
Okay.
I would like to be part of your group. This is Lynn.
Okay, well, you
Um,
are. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you, thank you,
okay,
Okay,
everyone.
talk to you later. So we'll start
Randy,
that out, Lynn and Liz. We'll get you two set up on something that you can.
go with. I have another
Well,
idea
Roland.
to piggyback with this newfound effort for a campaign, especially if somebody's going to target apartment buildings, would be to dovetail into Home Partners of America. And I understand that our training was shifted into January 25th. And I
Uh
encourage everybody to want to be on that call to see. The company has had
huh.
great success with that organization.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think that if we can target all rental units, everybody take a session or do whatever we do, and really farm them to move into a rental house and then convert them to
Yeah.
close. They can close as soon as 90 days. It's just a
I
super
know.
deal.
What you're
This
saying
one,
is exactly what I was going to say when I said dovetail. I mean, I knew what you're saying. It's perfect.
yeah.
If anybody doesn't know that's on this call, Home Partners has billions of dollars or whatever, and what have they bought? About 14,000 houses already. So if you have a renter, you can go into the MLS and find the renter a house. Home Partners buys it and rents it to them. It's
And
that simple. The renter has to have decent credit, etc.
yep. They close with cash, and a lot of times it's 30 to 45 days now. And it's just a
Yep.
win-win. Win-win-win.
And then on top of that, every year the renter can decide if they want to buy the house back from Home Partners.
Up
So
to
once
5
they rent
years.
it till they qualify for their loan, if they like the area, it's a test drive on a house. It's perfect. So that's awesome. We could go in and find people who are paying high rents and then convert them over to a $300,000, $400,000 house and have them rent from Home Partners. And you could even, in Cold Realty, right? It's credit based. So you could go 680 plus or whatever
Yeah.
Home Partners criteria is.
It's a
Well,
win-win.
that's good. So anybody else on here that wants to try to be a part of one of these groups that we kind of on a micro basis show you how to get the information out of software into Chime, start a campaign, text message campaign, follow up in a little more detail, just reach out.
Yeah, Randy, I would
All
like
right.
to do that. It's my camera speak.
Hey. Well, okay, so that's 3 of us so far, so that's perfect. Maybe we'll have we'll send out this recording and find 1 or 2 more, but 3 is a good little pilot group to get going, and if anybody sees what we're doing, then they'll probably want to do it, but at least we got something to get started.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
quick question. When you say target area size, do you mean like 100 households, 50 households, 200? What are you looking at?
You can take whatever you want, and that's the whole point, is that it's got to be manageable or you're just going to get overwhelmed.
Okay.
Don't you live over in Falcon Heights?
I do.
Yeah, see, that's a hell of an area, but nobody sells because it's so convenient. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, but if you wanted to farm, somebody could just pick the area where they live so you don't have to travel far, you know. But if 200 households, I suppose that's probably a manageable list. Too many more, it's kind of just names and numbers, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got the day. Sorry.
I would suggest we start out with a pilot project, maybe do 50 and do them forward, backward, inside out, and really get good at it, and then start adding on. That way you don't get overwhelmed and drop it.
Exactly. If you get an apartment building, there's got to be even 100 units. But then we take that building itself and find out that, you know, there's only 40 people in there that have really good credit. I mean, I'll shrink the list. I know Mike across from you, across 36 and something, there's a handful of condos and apartments. But whatever you want, if you want to try to cultivate people that are going to sell in your territory, or pick a couple apartment buildings, this apartment building thing is a really good idea because it feels like low-hanging fruit with the new Home Partners program.
It's a win-win. I'm just all excited about that. I think that's going to be a great thing. Start a pilot project.
Liz, do you know the minimum credit score for Home Partners?
I think they lowered it. I think it is 680 or 6 something. I don't know exactly right now.
I think if anybody can find that out, that'll be a key for anybody who's going to go after people that are renters. They can stay renters or they can buy.
Well, say you have a 100-unit apartment building with this filter process that we have availability to, that will take out a lot. A lot of new buildings have to have X amount of low-income housing, you know, and a lot of those you just don't want to bother with. You want to get the higher hanging fruit.
Well, that's why, we find renters in Cole's database, and Cole's database tells us their income, their credit, all the information, so we're not just shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
Right? Why would we want to send out 100 postcards at $1 a piece if we only need to send out 30?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactamundo. The other thing, is the Cole going to be just in Minnesota, or are we going to have that in the other states that you're bringing on board?
Well, I believe the database is just a national database already, so we're set.
That's good. That's the right answer, Randy.
Okay, so Mike, Liz, and Lynn so far will follow up with on implementing this program, and then we'll just track what we're doing so we can share it with other people. I mean, it's a large geographical area, so there's nothing you're going to lose by sharing it after we,
No, I
get
think that's a
started.
great idea, and I think if we can somehow, with I don't know how many agents we have on board now that the dues were due, but how many we have, everybody should try to reach out to someone. We don't know how to reach out to other people in the company. Once we get our little dog and pony show together, we should designate.
I think there's over almost 250 or so people that are just in our Facebook Connect page.
So they're still breathing on a mirror and still active, right?
Well, yeah, as far as I know, there's about 300 active people.
So if we
there's about 400 on our roster, but some are not paying dues and not renew until they got a sale in the spring or something,
yeah,
or they're in
and
a referral group.
that happens a lot, and it'll continue to happen for a while yet. But if we
Yeah.
could maybe extend, once we get this down, if we can each reach out to a few of the no names and try to bring them into the fold, I think that
Exactly. So
that would help all over if the participants would be willing to spread themselves a little bit and help other people in the company. You never know when you start getting busy. One of the reasons I wanted to come on board with Randy was there's people. When I had my own brokerage and I had Wayzata Realty for a few years, I did mostly commercial. I didn't have anybody, so I hired somebody full time to do stuff so I could globetrot. And that worked out really great. And that's part of the reason that we have a lot of people on board that if you reached out to them, they're already paid up, they're ready to go, and they're not doing anything. Maybe they're working another job or something. But we have a force that we aren't even tapping into our own people.
Sure. So I'll show you guys. And if you want to take it self-serving and do it on your own, that's great. If you want to reach out to the group, I'm sure we can work out a deal where you could train somebody how to do this and then maybe get a pat on the back financially. Who knows? Well, I don't have too much more. I know we can do this all day long, but I think our first step is, instead of chapter 1 being pinpointing a location, it's also going to be logging into your Chime account and watching a few of those videos to at least start to get 5-10% into the knowledge of how to use Chime. Because if I can't.
But Randy, I've tried to call Chime 3 times last week and could not get in. They just said call back. What's going on with Chime?
I don't understand.
They reply right away to email. They're really good with that.
Yeah, I just did the same thing. They sent me back a message in 10 minutes. So what are you logging into? Rollin just explained to go to chime.me and reset your password. This can't be an issue.
Well, it's not a matter of getting into Chime. I had questions about Chime.
What about?
Whatever I was working on at the time, I needed an answer from Chime on something, and I could not get to them.
Okay. Try to email them your question at support, and then go from there and say, this isn't working. Can somebody please call me?
Yeah, I tried that. I tried, and I said, this is not an emergency, but I'm working on a campaign and I have a couple of big questions for you. Never heard back. So I need to be a little more persistent, but I appreciate whoever said, use the email, don't phone them. But even so, when you call them, it is not, that's a terrible impression when they don't even answer the phone for 3 days. It's like something happened there. Something was going on. And that's very bad business acumen on their part for a large company like that realtors count on.
I don't know. No, I haven't heard this from anybody. We got 140 users on it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've never tried to call myself, but I have had them reply to my email. I also posted the requirements in the chat for Home Partners of America.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you. Yeah, Lynn. But David, I was just going to say, I don't know what the criteria is, but we got a rep or something like that. Rollin can probably get their name. You can qualify. I mean, we got a handful of people in the company are certified with them. And it doesn't take much but a couple hours on a video online, right, Lynn? And then they're certified and it gives you the criteria, but I'm pretty sure you can just call the rep and tell them what you got and they'll probably that's not a problem.
I'm certified. I posted their eligibility requirements in the chat.
Oh, that's what I thought you were asking if those fit the program. Perfect.
Yeah. That's straight from their FAQ.
Oh,
Income,
good.
Chapter 7, bankruptcy, no scoring. Oh, and then we just don't have a minimum credit score or nothing, but they're not really looking at credit score. They're just saying if all these other conditions match, huh?
Yeah, they do take into account FICO scores, but my understanding is they don't have like a just a set minimum where if you're a 649 and their minimum 650, they're not going to approve you. They say it's a combination of all this.
I think they look at debt to income ratio and make sure that you're not in bankruptcy, or if you are, that it's been discharged for X amount of time.
I'm also certified with Divvy Homes, which is a similar program to Home Partners of America, and they will allow a bankruptcy as long as it's been 12 months since discharge.
Okay. So what kind of basically just the same type of a thing? Is it another fund being managed, or what's their name?
Divvy Homes. I can send you an invite, but I got they're a little harder to get people approved for it, to be honest, because they do require typically 10% additional over what their rent payment is for the applicant to set aside, and they call that a savings account for the down payment. And their claim to fame is that they actually help the renter buy the house, so they require them to be saving for the down payment.
Okay, I see.
But I can send you more information.
So that is the plan. If they choose, then can they choose not to buy it and get the money back?
No. Yeah.
So that's just their plan. It is, we're going to get you into this house. This is the path.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good.
Is it DIVI like Divvy?
Yep. Let's see here.
And how long have you been? How much experience have you had with that?
So I haven't closed a single one with them yet, but I did just get certified last year. I've sent my clients to both Divvy and Home Partners, and to be honest, most of them Home Partners worked out better. But if for whatever reason Home Partners does not qualify somebody, that's a backup option. And Divvy does. They do huge commission bonuses. I get emails all the time about send us a approved client and we'll double the commission.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, my ears heard that one.
But if you give me your emails, I can invite you to that for sure.
I would like an invite. It's Lynn Condos, nrg@gmail.com. LYNNCONDOS LYNNCONDOS@nrg.gmail.com. I'd appreciate it.
If anybody wants to know, everybody in this company has their first initial and last name at nrgrealtor.com, and it just forwards to whatever email they like that they're using. So you can always figure out what somebody's email is.
Oh.
So you could do that one too. Well, we certainly have had a myriad of new information today, Randy. Your energy level is very high and very generous. And I really appreciate what you're doing for the company. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to go eyeball to eyeball with people this year. I just had a cancer scare. I have a great big hole on the top of my forehead right now. And I had to go in and double dip on it. And it'll take about 6 months before the scar isn't all that noticeable with my $1 million Mary Kay face. But it's given me another reality check about the zest of life and taking action. That's where I'm going with this, that we all need to start taking more action and not letting the pandemic totally keep us out of commission.
Tell me about it. Well, that's good. That's good. You're all right there. I'm just trying to think of when our next get together is. It might have to be closer to Valentine's Day, like last year, for our holiday thing because of travel and stuff. But we're gonna need you to do your whatever that is, not tarot cards, but
My
that
angel
was fun.
cards. My angel
That was
cards.
fun. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Halloween thing. Okay, well, anybody who wants to jump off, we're not going to give any new information. We're just going to rebox what we have so that we can move forward with these items. So I'll sit down for a couple more minutes and chat, but then I got to run too. So I guess the educational portion is over.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Lots of good information.
You're welcome. Good. I don't know, this weather's kind of wacky.
You know what they're calling it? They're
Well,
calling it a weather buffet.
yeah,
Because we're
that's
supposed
what,
to,
what's his name calls it.
yeah, Ian. Yeah, fog, rain, thunder, maybe a tornado, snow, heavy winds, high temperature up to 60, and then dropping down into the tundra. And we're making history as we speak.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect because I got to run into town.
Very good.
And
Thank you, Randy, so much.
Yep.
I really
Yep.
appreciate all your efforts.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome, Lynn. All right, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Bye now.
Thanks.